Bella Salon and Day Spa, located at 41 West Main Street in Northeast Pennsylvania, proudly supports Chautauqua Sunrise and its volunteers. More information at bellasalonanddayspa.net. Funding is provided by a grant from New York State Senator Catherine M. Young, representing Western New York's 57th District with a local office in Olean. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. From the Access Channel 5 studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Channel 5. Continuing the traditions of Senior Report, we are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week, countywide, from 9 to 10 a.m. Join us by calling in live, emailing us, or checking out our social media. And now, from the Channel 5 studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Chautauqua Sunrise. I'm Doc Hamels, and thanks for tuning in this morning. If you're watching this live, we're going to be on the show here from 9 to 10. We've got a great program for you today. We have a change up in our lineup. Our guests, we had a switch up. We had Jennifer Phillips Russo that was going to be coming in, but she's waylaid up in Fredonia with all the snow and heavy ice and all that sort of thing. And we talked yesterday, and we figured it was probably safer for her to stay put. So we have a special guest that's a return guest, and we're going to get to him in a little bit. But grab a cup of coffee or hot chocolate. It's 0 degrees out there on the hills of Ripley anyways, and I've been told in Jamestown as well, although Westfield is enjoying a balmy 6 degrees. Beautiful sunny day. If you are an outdoors person, I think this is your kind of a day, out skiing, sledding. In my case, it's running around the woods with my crazy dog Max. And I got a trail camera for Christmas, and so every day it's like an addiction. I got to go out, pull out the little chip from the camera and see what's out there. And generally it's me and Max as we're approaching the camera. But I did catch a fox and some deer, and it's been really a lot of fun. But anyways, enjoy the day. It's really quite nice out there, but bundle up. That wind chill factor can get you some frozen skin, and it's not a good thing. I'm still amazed, though, when I think about when we were kids. I remember going out sledding in the Delaware Park up in Buffalo, and we would come back absolutely frozen. I can't even hide the term. We were just frozen. Our toes, our fingers, everything frozen. And somehow we survived. I still have all my fingers, but nowadays we keep hearing about skin freezing and that. So I don't know if we were tougher or we're just a little overprotective. I'm not sure, but nonetheless, be careful out there and use the sunscreen. They say this time of year you should, even with the sun, it's just as bright with all that snow and all that sort of thing. So use your sunscreen. Okay, I just have a few things I want to share with you. We're going to get right into the heart of our program today because our guest has to leave a little bit early, and then we're going to have hopefully some other guests dropping in, and we'll get to them later on in the show. So anyways, remember this is a call-in show. You can call us at 753-5225. You can Twitter us. You can tweet us. That's the same thing. You can Facebook us, email us, whatever you want. Share some information, a birthday, anniversary, something sad, something happy, whatever. So, and I'm going to lead it off here today. I've got 4 just things that I want to share with you. On a sad note, very sad note, I know that this gentleman was known in the area, and if you were a Mason, if you're within the Masonic Brotherhood, Bob Slocum passed away a couple days ago, and Bob and I have known each other for a long time. We were in the same Masonic Lodge over in Westfield at Summit Lodge, and he will have a special Masonic service. So if you're a Mason or not a Mason, doesn't matter, but if you're a Mason, tomorrow, January 11th. I'm thinking June. I'm thinking warm weather here. January 11th at Lynn Funeral Home, 3 p.m. There's going to be a special Masonic service for Bob Slocum. Good news. A number of years ago, we had a fragile, skinny little girl from Germany that lived with us for about a year, who now is officially my daughter, as far as I'm concerned. And we got word yesterday that she just got her doctor's degree in medicine. And so even though she is not in the country at the moment, but I do know from time to time they view the show. So congratulations, Dr. Julianne Kaspari. We're real proud of you and all your family here back in the States. We get to see her about once a year and her family when we go over to Germany. My baby brother, Bob, had his birthday earlier this week, and he is now officially eligible for the earliest stages of Social Security. Yeah, he's 62. Can't believe it, the old boy. And then as far as anything that's happening here in the local area, the Jackway VFW Post 67, 64, they are having, let's see what we're going to call this here, a membership drive this Sunday from 8 to 11. And this includes the auxiliaries, both men and women can join them. Sausage, scrambled eggs, biscuits and gravy, hash browns, orange juice and coffee, pancakes available on request. Price $8 per adult, ages 10 and above. And then for kids 5 to 10, $6. Let's see, they are looking for, there's a discounted membership prices for regular members during this event and so forth. So anyways, if you're interested, they're having a great breakfast tomorrow morning from 8 to 11 at the Jackway VFW Post 6764. So check it out. Get out and enjoy the winter weather and get some sausage and eggs. Okay, with no further ado, I'm not going to ramble on this morning. I want to thank John Wolfe for joining me this morning. John was on my short list of call in the event that we have a cancellation, and so I'm so glad you could make it here. And you were on last year. I can say that. It seems like it was just a month ago. And we really got into so much cool history about the area, and there was some things that we were going to cover that we never got to. But before we do that, you told us a lot about yourself and where you grew up and all that, but I'm not sure if you told me what got you so interested in history and archiving. You're really, I think you told me you're like arts and English and all that stuff, right?
Not English, art and theater.
Well, that's why I figured the English comes into the theater part. But anyways, what got you into history when you're really an art major?
I've always been interested in family history and antiques and that kind of thing. And so after I inherited the family home in Westfield, I got involved in that, and then got on the board at the Patterson Library, and then got on the board at the McClurg Museum.
Right across the street.
Right across the street, and was reorganized in 2006 and 7, and I drew the short stick and became the curator.
So you've been a curator all this time?
Since 2006. I've been a trustee since 2004.
So you've been a curator for going on 9 years now.
Oh, no wonder I'm excited. So.
But you know, I've been to the museum a number of times, and I'm like you in many ways. I want to open up the cases. I want to read the papers. I want to feel the texture. I want to kind of like absorb the whatever you want to call it of the day, you know. And I brought my granddaughter out this summer, and we go to the beach a lot. And we find these stones, sometimes they have holes in them, and you have a box, you know which box I'm talking about, and they're called Indian sinker nets.
Well, actually, they're not Indian. They're most of them are fishermen from Barcelona.
Oh, well, it says Indian on
Well,
there.
there were some, but those are long gone.
Oh, well, how far back does that go?
19th century, 20th century.
All right, so, but
they can be found all the time down in Barcelona.
Right, oh.
And we had one volunteer who would go down there after every storm to pick them up, and he, just before he moved away, he gave us a whole giant box of them, and so that box is going down quickly, but we give them away to...
oh, see, it says Indian on there, so...
Well, we need to change
that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm disappointed.
I'm
well,
sorry.
How can you tell the Indian from the non-Indian?
They're just a little different look to them.
Okay. Well, I have a bunch of them at home. So
You took a bunch
no,
from our box?
I have my own, my own. I said to Kyla, you want to take one? And she had it in her hand, and I think she got shy and she put it back. But no, we go looking for those kinds of things. So
well, if you find extra ones, bring them over because our box is getting empty.
Yeah, I see that. All right. Well, anyways, but that's not. We're not going to talk about Fisher nets, sinkers here and weights, but we wanted to talk about a gentleman who is from the region, and his name was First Lieutenant Alonzo H. Cushing. And it's a long story, and so take your time with this, but I know that somehow or another you were involved with a family that you didn't really know getting a Medal of Honor from President Obama. So
correct.
Start wherever you want to start. This is a great story.
Well, actually, you have to start 2 years ago.
Okay.
A woman by the name of Jessica Loring gave us a phone call, and I happened to be there that day. And she said, "We're looking for Cushing papers. We think you might have some William Cushing papers." And I said, "Yeah, we have around 2,000 of them. We have his wife's wedding dress. We have all kinds of stuff on William Cushing." And they were driving through from South Carolina to California, and they stopped in Fredonia.
All right, time out. How do you go from Carolinas to California?
Well, they have a house in Carolina, and they have a house in California.
Well, how do you hit for Westfield?
Well, because they knew, obviously, the Cushings were Fredonia, the family,
all right.
the Barker Cushings, and they stopped in Fredonia.
Barker.
Barker, that's the mother.
Oh.
So anyway, they stopped in Fredonia, and because there's stuff at the Barker Museum, and they weren't open. So they Googled somehow, and they didn't even know we existed or that we had this stuff. And they called, and so they came the next morning, and they were there and I showed them everything that we have, and we were just getting ready to digitize it. And I said, well, it'll be probably $4,000 or $5,000 it'll cost to digitize the papers so we can put them online. And at the end of the tour, their tour with me was 7.5 hours. I'm a little over, but they saw all the Cushing stuff firsthand. It wasn't on display.
They probably want to really absorb it all, sure.
And so then she said, well, here's a check for $1,000 to help start the digitizing of the project.
Wow.
And the next year she calls, and that was 2 years ago. So last January she called and said, have you started that? And I said, no, we haven't got it, but we've made a decision that we think we can do it ourselves rather than spending the $4,000 or $5,000. If we get a flatbed scanner, a high-resolution flatbed scanner, we can do it ourselves. We have an intern coming in who's really good at that kind of stuff. And she said, well, how much is that? And I said, $1,500. About a week later, a check for $500 came. So then we had the money to buy the scanner. And so I've been talking to her and emailing her. And they have a bunch of letters from the Cushing family. Their connection is, and I wasn't sure at the time how they were connected, but Alonzo and William Cushing's mother was Mary Barker Cushing, as in Barker Library, Barker Commons, all that. And her sister was Margaret Loring, Margaret Barker Loring.
Okay. So this was like cousins to the
Cushings. Yes.
Woo!
So that's, and what the family tradition was after Alonzo was killed and William died very early, he was a naval hero, Mary, the mother, realized that they were not going to have any children to name or grandchildren to name after these two of the children, and she asked her sister, Margaret Loring, if she would consider having her son name their children Alonzo or William.
Namesake.
So this family has continued that tradition for the past 100 years, including today. There's a Joseph Alonzo Cushing, Maine, who's 2 years old, who was at the White House with me.
Oh my God.
So anyway, and William Cushing Loring the third is another one. I mean, there's a whole series that have come down for 100 years with those names. So anyway, that was where the connection was. So she sent me, and she kept talking on emails and phones, she kept talking about that they were first cousins, fourth or fifth times removed. Well, I didn't realize she was talking about this little kid who was the fifth time removed. And they announced that finally they were going to be giving out the Medal of Honor for Alonzo Cushing. The White House announced it, and it was going to be given September 15th of last year. But they have to be given to a descendant. So they were looking for descendants, and it has to be given to the closest descendant. Well, there were 4 children. You know, there was Alonzo. He was killed at 22, no life. I mean, he didn't have any wasn't married, didn't have any kids or anything. His brother William, in the Navy, he died at 32. He had 2 daughters who never were married. In fact, one of the daughters was the secretary at the Chautauqua County Historical Society. That's why we ended up with all the papers for them. That was in the 20s and 30s. And Howard, another brother, was killed in Arizona in the Indian Wars in the 1870s. And so there was Milton and a little girl, and their lines died out. So there were no brothers or sisters who had lines coming down. So the closest was an aunt or an uncle. So they announced this, and they were looking, and the Lorings had put it in with the Pentagon, and they didn't hear anything. All of a sudden, they announced that the medal was going to be given to these 2 cousins who were first cousins 3 times removed. One was from New York City, one was from Georgia, by the name of Stevens. One was Sater and one was Stevens, but they were 2 cousins. And I thought, who are these people? Who are these people? I never heard of them. So I spent that night online on Ancestry.com trying to figure it out. Well, it turns out that these guys were descendants of Alonzo's father's sister.
Okay.
Exact line, only on the other side.
Right.
And that's who the Pentagon had chosen to get these things. Their first cousins 3 times removed. So I called, I called Jessica, and I said, they're giving it, and it's going to be next week, and they're giving it to these people. And she said, and I said, but you've made a mistake. I said, because there's this Helen Loring Ensign, who is first cousin 2 times removed.
Closer,
She's closer. And they also have the family connection that's closer than these other guys. And I said, you need to get this stuff to the Pentagon. Well, they had already done it, because Jessica's son and daughter-in-law are both majors in the Marine Corps stationed in Arlington. So I thought, well, they've got the connections.
Yeah, really.
Nothing was happening.
Uh-oh.
And it was going to be the next week. Senator Schumer happened to be in Westfield on Thursday.
Serendipity.
Yes, yes. And I had already had contact with his aide, who's from Mayville, about something else, and I emailed him and said, listen, we got to do, there's something going on here wrong. And I sent him the stuff, and he was in Westfield for a grape thing at the Grape Discovery Center.
Okay,
It was a press conference. So I went to the press conference thinking, well, I'll just try to connect there. And at the end of the press conference, they always have open questions. And while we were waiting for him, Susan Chapone, who's a reporter with the Buffalo News, and I'd been contacting her on the phone, never met her, talked to her that morning, but she was covering a murder trial in Mayville, but she got out early. I'm standing there, and I hear this woman say, well, I'm Susan something or other from the Buffalo News, and I said, excuse me, I'm John Paul Wolfe, we just talked. She said, oh. I said, this is what I need to do. She said, no worry, don't worry about it, I'll set you up. So they have the questions. She said, Senator Schumer, understand there's a question or a problem with who's getting the Medal of Honor. And he said, well, yes, my aide has told me that. And he said, we're going to be looking into it. And this was on a Thursday. It's happening the next Thursday at the White House.
Crunch time.
And I jumped out from behind Susan and said, John Paul Wolfe, Chautauqua County Historical Society, I have the paperwork right here. And so then I met with him, and then I met with his aide for 20 minutes, and they took it on. So that was Thursday, 4:30, 5 o'clock. Friday morning, I get a phone call from the Pentagon saying, we need more.
Wait a minute. I got we get a phone call. What did they say?
They said, this is the Pentagon.
They say that? They really say this is the Pentagon? I thought that was like only in the movies.
I know. Senator Schumer must have done some pulling of some strings, and they had a meeting at 9 o'clock, it turns out, with his connections at the Pentagon. And they called at 10:30 at the museum, and I said, well, they wanted more facts. I said, well, I think you have everything I have, but you need to talk to Jessica Loring. She's right now in South Carolina. And she said, oh, I have her number and everything. And I said, okay. So 2:30 that afternoon, which is less than 24 hours later, Jessica calls me and said, I don't know what you did, but we're getting the Medal of Honor. the Brigadier General from the Pentagon called and said to her, we are very sorry, we have made a mistake.
Whoa. So this is the other side of the family now gets it. You
Right.
started like the Hatfields and McCoys here, maybe.
Well, I did. So anyway, she calls back the next day and she said, okay, you're going. We're only allowed 10 seats from the family at the White House, because the Stevens family, who were getting it, had already been invited. They were already headed to Washington, plus a bunch of Cushings named Cushings, they're distant ones, they were going, so there was limited seating. She said, I've got to dump 10 of my own family members, but you're going because you got it.
Oh, wow.
So Monday I was racing around trying to get there, so that was how it all evolved. It was purely by accident because the Barker Museum was closed 2 years ago, and she Googled us. I mean, that's really how it happened.
And you know, we were talking before that we started the show, that's really, one person has a nugget of information and they've got it, you know, stored somewhere, and they present it at the right time, the right moment, and somebody recognizes it, bing. Wow, I got so many questions here. So are the Cushings still in Fredonia?
No.
So the whole family is like dispersed?
Dispersed and gone, and of those 5 children, there's
Right.
no one
Right.
descendant from them, so they had to go to these other lines to get a descendant. The interesting thing was when we were talking, Jessica said, my family, Helen, Loring Ensign, who's the 85-year-old who got the, actually got it, she's the first cousin 2 times removed, they decided they didn't want it sitting on someone's mantle. So she said, we're going to have it displayed at various places, and they've had a meeting, a family meeting in December. Helen lives in California, and her 4 children do, and she said, we've chosen, it's going to be on display permanently at 4 different locations. It's going to be rotated. So, and the McClurg Museum is the first to get it.
Awesome.
So we'll be getting it, I think, in May through the summer, because that's our busy time. So we'll have it all.
Well, you're
summer.
coming back in May, so you're gonna have to let
Well,
us
there
know.
you go.
Yeah.
And then it's going to the to West Point, where he's buried, and it's going to Gettysburg, where he was killed, and it's going to Delafield, Wisconsin, where he was born. And the whole issue of the Medal of Honor, there's a town historian in Delafield, Wisconsin, who's now 94, and she made it her mission for 40 years to try to get this Medal of Honor for Alonzo, and and she finally succeeded.
What was her interest?
She just happens to be in Delafield, where Alonzo was born, and she happens to live on a house on the property where the Cushings lived until the father died. And then they came back to Fredonia. So Alonzo was only in Delafield for his first 5 years of his life.
Right. It's like B.F. Goodrich being born in Ripley.
Right.
And we claim him, but he didn't really live there.
Yeah.
He's just born there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, so she was really the reason it happened, and then they had to find a descendant.
So local historian, genealogist in Wisconsin finds local boy that makes good, in a sense.
Right, was killed at Gettysburg. He's considered the biggest hero of Gettysburg,
all right,
really.
So now, all right, so let's go off on that a little bit. So Alonzo is in the Army. I'm assuming that's what he is.
Yep.
And he's at Gettysburg, gets killed. So why does he get the Medal of Honor? I mean, the Medal of Honor is like the highest you can go, isn't it?
Right, yeah.
So why does he get this as opposed to anybody else during the war?
Well, the problem with first of all, the Cushings, Alonzo wrote to his Aunt Margaret Loring, and that we have the copy of the letter. The Loring family have a whole series of letters, and he wrote to Aunt Margaret, and it says, "Dear Aunt Margaret, I've just received command of the artillery of the group that he was then fighting in and was killed with." And that was 4 months before Gettysburg.
Okay.
And so then he goes to Gettysburg, and he was in the center. It's called Cemetery Ridge, and
I've heard of that.
Well,
Yeah,
that was him.
that's
He was the
famous,
reason. He's the reason that they were actually. He was in the very center of the point when Pickett's charge came in, and he had a whole battery of cannon, and all of his officers were killed. There were 6,000 rebels coming. Confederates coming towards them all, and it was a 3-day fight, and finally the third day, July 3rd, they came right up the middle at him, and everybody in his battery pretty much were killed. He had one cannon left and one officer below him, and they kept firing, and they even moved the cannon closer to the wall, and finally he was wounded in the shoulder, then he was wounded in the stomach. He had to hold, literally, it's disgusting, but he had to hold his stomach in, and he refused to leave, and finally he was shot in the head and was killed. But because of his actions,
Meritorious.
yeah, but he was killed right there at with Pickett's charge at and there's a monument to him. But he was killed, and at the time, first of all, officers didn't get medals of honor, and also you had to live. And he died. So people who died didn't get medals of honor. It was for people who survived. So it was, the rules had changed and everything like that since then.
So we're talking well over what,
151 years.
51 years later.
The longest person to wait for a Medal of Honor.
So what drove this? What drove
that little lady?
Oh, so
Margaret Zwertig, 40 years she's been pushing.
So she kept sending information to the Pentagon.
Well, and she had to get a bill with her congressman.
Oh my gosh.
And she finally got somebody to do it. It got attached to another bill in Congress, and then a congressman from Virginia threw it off the bill, saying this will cause all kinds of trouble, we're not going to do this, so it got thrown out of the bill. And then the next year, 2 years later, and that was actually, I believe, Jim Webb, who's they're talking about running for president. He was the reason we almost didn't get it. So then it was reapplied, put on another bill, and it got through.
Wow.
And so that's how this whole thing started. Then they had to find out who got it. So.
Oh my gosh. Folks, you're watching Chautauqua Sunrise. My guest today is John Wolfe, and we're talking about the Medal of Honor presentation to the family of First Lieutenant Alonzo H. Cushing, who was a Civil War hero at the Battle of Gettysburg. If you have any questions for John, or you have an announcement or anything you want to share, call us here at the studio. It's live, 753-5225, or any other information you want to share. But John is a wealth of information on this, or anything else to do with the Historical Society here at the Chautauqua Historical Society over at the Westfield site at the McClurg Mansion. That's a lot to say.
It is.
Okay. Okay, we have a picture of the Medal of Honor, and if you want to pop that up, Jeff, and maybe you can describe it to us a little bit more, John. So it's on a blue ribbon with stars. Is there any, what's the word I want to say, symbolism in this? I see an eagle.
Well, it's been redesigned several times. The one with the blue ribbon that everyone's familiar with that they wear around their neck was, I think, redesigned in 1900 or something like that. Prior to that, they didn't have that. We have a Medal of Honor from Putnam, which is another whole story, a Chautauqua County guy, and one of them has it, and then they got one without it. So it just depends on when it was given as to what they look like. They changed them a little bit, but they now are traditionally this look. It was a 3-day event in Washington when they were presented. The first, we got there on Wednesday, and I didn't know any of these people, and I couldn't even remember what Jessica Loring looked like. I'd met her once, 2 years before. So there was the Wednesday night. There was a reception for everybody at the hotel in Washington, and so I'm standing in the lobby waiting to figure it, and I see this relatively elderly woman sitting on a couch with a bunch of people, and I thought,
she's 85 according to the newspaper.
Right, and I thought, I wonder if that is Helen Loring. And so I went over, and I thought, well, I think it is. So I went over and introduced myself, and the woman sitting next to her saying, John Paul, I'm Jessica. Now, I've been talking to her for 2 years, either on the phone or on emails, but I forgot what she looked like. So anyway, that started. I think that event that night, it was the Army chorus sang, and it was 75 of the Cushings and the Lorings and the Stevens people.
Is this just for one man? This is one Medal of Honor event?
Oh yeah, this is a biggie. The Army took it really seriously. Anyway, I think they were vetting us all, because there was a guy from the White House with a clipboard, and he'd come over to you, say, now who are you, and blah blah blah, and then they'd take your picture. I think it was all part of that to get ready for the White House event, which was the next day, because there were only a certain number that could go to that. And then also for all of us to get to know each other. So I would go up to somebody, say, I'm John Paul Wolfe, and if it was one of the Loring family, they say, oh, you're John Paul Wolfe, thank you so much. And if it was one of the Stevens family who found out they weren't getting it 4 days earlier, they would say, oh, you're John Paul Wolfe. But by the end of the 3 days that we were together, we were okay.
So who pays for all this? I mean,
we did. It cost me $1,500.
So you pay for your own flight and hotel. All right.
But I wasn't going to miss this.
I
don't know if Helen got it free. I have no idea.
Okay. I'm just curious.
Yeah. So anyway, that was on Wednesday night. Thursday, we were going to the White House, and so we meet at the lobby at the hotel, and we were escorted with 3 motorcycles, a police car, then there were 2 women in wheelchairs, Helen and then the 94-year-old historian from Wisconsin in a SUV, and then there were 2 minibuses, and then another wheelchair, another
These are government vehicles?
and another police car behind us, and we went directly through every red light and to the White House, and went up the driveway to the. We get in there waiting, and the one group, the Loring immediate family, went into a waiting room for the Oval Office to meet the president, and he actually signs the document. We were in the Roosevelt room, and I was waiting outside, and I said to the woman at the desk, I said, "Now, where exactly are we? I know we're in the White House, but where are we? Because it wasn't the White House."
If I tell you, I got to kill you.
She said, "You're in the West Wing." And I said, "Oh, well, okay, that answers it, because the White House is here, and we come up the driveway. You know, when you see all the reporters at the White House, and well, that's the driveway we walked up." So anyway, so that answers that. So we were in the Roosevelt room, and you know, all these important people came out.
So how many times were you searched? I mean,
several times.
Several times. So it's constant.
Yeah. So anyway, so that event happened, and I will. If you go to our website, McClurgmuseum.org, it is not up there yet, but we have all the live, or the video feeds we will get them posted, I just haven't done it, for the White House and the Pentagon and a couple of other things, so it will be a whole thing on our website. So anyway, that was Thursday, and then Friday was the induction. This is the program from the...
Yeah, they were popping that up.
Okay.
Jeff, this is there you go.
That's the program from the White House for the Medal of Honor. And then the next one is on Thursday. Oh, I'm confused. On Friday was the Pentagon's induction into the Hall of Heroes. And that was really the most impressive thing. We go to the Pentagon, and again, it was with the police escorts and everything. We get up there, and there were the room was divided in half, and one side was all uniforms. I mean, all the big-time generals and the Secretary of the Army, and
this is serious stuff.
Yeah, and the other side was the family. And this is the funny one. We were sitting there, and this one soldier comes out, and he sings the national anthem. He's standing there, perfect attention, right in the aisle, right in the front to start this whole thing. And so we all stand up, and he's just, you know, straight ahead looking, singing the national anthem. And I see that Margaret Zwertig, the 94-year-old, over in a wheelchair, she doesn't stand up, and I can kind of see her dangle, and I hear this noise, and I thought, what is that noise? Well, she can't hear, but he was singing loud enough she could hear it. She was singing the national anthem, like a little squeaky, you could barely hear it, and all of a sudden people started turning around like, what is that noise? And she sang the whole thing.
Hold on a second. Randy, can you shoot this? This is a picture of who John's talking about. Let me see, I'll angle it this way. Her picture, it really speaks to it. Jeff, can we hit on this picture? There we go, perfect.
There we go.
And her name, I can't say
Margaret Zwertig, and
she's the one
94. She actually instituted for 40 years trying to get this thing.
All right, so she's singing
the national anthem, and then they go through all these various speeches and things from various, and then it was presented to Helen. And
all right, well, let's get her picture here. I got these because I knew sooner or later we were going to do this. Let's hit this one, Jeff and Randy. Okay, try this here. So this is...
And that's the actual Medal of Honor. It's in a frame now.
So she was the...
She's 80.
She's the relative to Cushing's mother's sister?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And that's the Barker line.
Right.
See, I kept up with you on that.
There you go.
Luckily,
Margaret Barker Loring.
There you go.
Mary Barker Cushing. Yeah, they were sisters. So anyway, that was the story there. So then, because of what Senator Schumer had done, Senator Schumer invited the immediate Loring family and myself to come to the Capitol after the Pentagon. So then we went to the Capitol and met with Senator Schumer and had a photo op and everything there. So it was 3 days of...
Yeah.
Whirlwind. Who would have thought the week before that I'd be at both the White House and the Pentagon and the Capitol. Bamity, bamity, bam.
Wow. And now, I think I saw a picture, unless I'm making this up. Oh, here it is.
That's at the White House.
This is the White House. And I'm not going to show you this picture because it's really hard to see. But it's a picture of President Obama addressing the audience. And that's in the West Wing?
That's in the Roosevelt room, which is in the West Wing, right across from the Oval Office.
Okay. And so what was that like? Was it surrealistic?
It was very formal. It was also very hot. It was, because there were far too many people in there for the size. It just, because of the way it all happened with both the Lorings and the Stevens and all these Cushing people. I'm in the back row there, and next to me is Matthew Cushing, and he's at West Point now.
Very stiff looking.
Yeah, well, he was in his formal uniform. Anyway, when I was talking to him while we were waiting, he said he was invited because of his name, and he's at West Point, where Alonzo's buried, and he was allowed to bring one person with him. And he said, well, who do you think I'm going to bring? So he brought the commander of West Point. So because he chose that, they helicoptered down both days, but he was like attached to this guy's hip most of the time because...
Smart move, good political move.
Yeah.
So, what was it like to be in the room with the President of the United States? I mean...
Well, you can see I'm way in the back, and
you're
he's
not
way in the
far
front.
away, maybe 20 feet.
Yeah, but...
still, it's like from here to across the studio. That's not that far away.
It was exciting.
I bet it was. I bet it was.
He did make a couple of minor mistakes in the speech about Alonzo Cushing.
Well, he's only as good as what
write it. Well,
people tell him. Yeah.
Right. So, but there was a couple of little minor glitches of like, wait a minute, that's not right. But.
All right. So, while you were talking, I got a message that whoever gets the Medal of Honor and they're living has the highest rank in that room at that moment. Does that ring a bell at all?
I don't know.
Well, evidently, I mean, it oversees or over whatever, over any general that would be in the room, from what I was
I
told.
don't know. I'm not sure.
So
you remember, I was an art teacher, produced musicals, and drew the short stick at the McClurg. So I don't profess to.
Right, well,
it's a learning curve.
I thought maybe we'll have to check with Jeff on that. He's a veteran, so he whispered that in my ear.
Okay,
my earpiece here. So now, all right. So if I'm a living individual and I get the Medal of Honor, it's mine. And I keep it and all that.
Right.
So are there any rules from the government?
We got a whole set of rules that Jessica sent me for people who are displaying it, especially for organizations like the Historical Society when we will be displaying it, you must have X, Y, and Z and security and blah, blah, blah. But we met all those rules, fortunately. There's a whole set of rules.
Okay. Because...
you're not allowed to sell it. You're not allowed to, I mean, there's all those kinds of rules, too. It has to be given back to the
can't wear it?
No, someone who isn't the person, no, absolutely not.
Right. Because when we had Kent Knappenberger on here with his Grammy that time,
right.
he this was Kent with his...
Oh, you're not allowed to touch it.
It was like the whole time.
The rules are he's not allowed to have anybody hold it and take a picture. Yeah,
gosh, no. I was allowed to carry it in its case.
It was
sort of like he had put it in its lead-lined case so that the kryptonite didn't get out. And I took it from here to his car, and it still was an honor. But I mean, I'm sure that there's special rules that make it the whole situation so
very special, especially today. Back in the Civil War period of time, they were giving out a lot more. There was one whole brigade or something or other that they all got it just simply for re-signing.
Oh my gosh!
So the rules changed over a period of time.
That takes
so
away
it's
from
far
the special,
right. So, but today it is an extremely special thing.
Do you have any idea of how many times this is given out in a year? I mean, is this a regular event, or it must be really special, especially to go back to the Civil War?
Right. Well, this is the longest waiting individual, 151 years. So this year he was killed on July 3rd. So we will have it 152 years celebration of next year. We supposedly will be getting it. I haven't heard specifically when it's coming to the McClurg, but it's supposed to be there. Because Jessica said, well, when is the best time of year for you guys? And I said, well, we have our Civil War reenactment in the 1st of June, so I would love to have it then. So I think it's coming from May through September, which is our busy year for tourism and things like that. And it'll be in a...
Which room is it going to be in?
Upstairs in the Civil War room.
So not
the
with
Lincoln
not
room.
with the scary baby picture.
No, not with the scary baby.
Because I'm playing in that room again this year, remember?
No, it'll be upstairs in the Civil War
I'm
room.
going to have to stop in there, no doubt about it. Well,
we'll have that center case will just be on him. Right now it's on armament, but that changes all the time, and so it'll be just him. We have some other stuff, and besides the medal, they also now have a flag that's specifically designed for the Medal of Honor winners, and I think that's in that other picture. Maybe not. It's that same light blue color. No, that's not the picture. With stars, and I don't know what it looks like unfolded because it's in another frame. So we'll get that, and there's another thing. So there'll be 3 items that are part of this that will come, and then also whatever we can put together of our own collection, like a copy of the letter that Alonzo wrote Aunt Margaret and that kind of thing. We'll have all of that.
Let me just go back one more time on Alonzo. So he was born out in Wisconsin, and somehow or another they end up in Fredonia?
Milton Cushing married Mary Barker.
Okay.
Cushing, his father was the founder of Fredonia and the first judge or something. I mean, big old-time lines. Milton then went west with his wife, and I think at the time they had 2 children, Milton and Howard were the 2 oldest, and they went to the area which is now Delafield, Wisconsin. And he was pretty successful out there, but when Alonzo was 5, and I think and then William was born after that. William's younger, and then there was a daughter that was born too. In fact, the daughter may not have been born when Milton died. The father died.
Right.
And so Mary Barker Cushing had no source of income. She had 5 children or 4 children, and so she came back home to Fredonia.
Okay.
So that's why they were only out there for a short period of time. She came back home, and then she worked, because they didn't have a whole lot of money, she worked connections with the Smith family, as in Mary Barker Smith Cushing with her family, somebody was a congressman or something, and she got an appointment for Alonzo to go to West Point.
Okay.
And then she also got an appointment for William to go to Annapolis.
So the Cushings then basically grew up in Fredonia. The kids.
Oh yeah, they were they founded Fredonia. They were in Fredonia. Milton just left and went out there, died, and the family came back.
Okay. Wow. Interesting, isn't it? Well. Okay.
So the next project we have is we're going to try to, and I've asked Senator Schumer, and he's willing to sponsor a bill. We're going to try to get William a Medal of Honor also, because he's considered the biggest naval hero. Alonzo is buried at West Point. William's buried at Annapolis.
Wow.
So we're hoping, most of our collection is on William. Because he had 2 daughters, and they saved everything. And Alonzo went from being raised in Fredonia, going to West Point, Civil War, killed. Never was married, he didn't have a chance for a life. He was killed at 22. So there's not very much of anything on Alonzo.
You know, there's, switching up a little bit, there seems to be a lot of history of the military from this region. And I think a lot of it, they were conscripted through Buffalo, New York, and maybe Erie, Pennsylvania, and that. And this is just a quick story, but it ties in with earlier when I talked about Bob Slocum being a Mason. A while back, I got a letter from a fellow out west, and I know this is going to seem like a long story, but anyways, there was, I think it was a captain in the cavalry from the Westfield area. I can't remember his name, Joseph somebody or other. Well, long story short, he goes to he's a Mason from Fredonia, Westfield, I think Westfield. No, it was Westfield, because it was from the Summit Lodge. And he goes to a Masonic meeting out west, like in New Mexico. And he signs in, you sign in the book when you go to another lodge meeting with another guy, another captain. I'll tell you his name in a second. And this guy was the secretary and sends me this information because this gentleman signed it from coming from Summit Lodge. And the other fellow was a Mason, and his name was Christopher Carson, Kit Carson. So there was all this, the Indian Wars, and people coming from this area going out west. So interesting stuff. As always, John,
you mentioned Bob Slocum. Bob Slocum and my father were best friends.
Really?
After the war, they were both working in Jamestown, but they were from Westfield, and so they carpooled until they found houses in Jamestown and Lakewood, so they carpooled every day. But Bob Slocum, my grandfather was like one of the big shots at the Masonic Lodge in Westfield, and Bob always used to tell me, your grandfather, I don't know what the ceremony is, I'm not a Mason, but he was...
I can't tell you.
Like, well, whatever it is, when you become a Mason, my grandfather was the one who gave the speech when he came in.
Right,
and
he was probably the master of the lodge.
He said everyone talks about his speeches. So anyway, it was so I have a big connection with Bob Slocum.
Okay, well, great. Well, John, as always, it's been a pleasure to have you here on the show. Why don't you give everybody a little blurb about the museum and how they can get down there and see all the wonderful things you have here, and then we're going to let you go because I know you got a busy
I have
morning.
to open up the museum.
You got to open the museum.
We're the Chautauqua County Historical Society. Since 1883, we've been at the McClurg Mansion since 1951. We have thousands of items from all over the county. We're open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 4, and free for children all the way through college.
Okay.
If you're not a member, it's $5.
Minimal.
If you are a member, it's free anytime you want to come. We also have a website, McClurgmuseum.org, which you really should go to. We have we will be having the Cushing papers on there. We have the Foot papers. Our first event, I just really want to make sure our first event for this coming year is April 25th, and the talk, which is free, is at the Westfield Methodist Church at 1 o'clock, and it's on Eliel T. Foote and the anti-slavery movement, and it's going to be given by Wendy Strait and Doug Shepard.
Awesome.
And the Foot papers are online. There's thousands of Foot papers that we put online. We have all of those, and so...
Cool.
Anyway, that's it.
All right, now we have some guests that have come into the studio here, and I got a great segue before we go to a break here. You told me, if my memory's right, because you and I served on the credit union board together for a while, or supervisory committee, I guess it was, that when you remodeled your house, you found something of your father's hanging on a wall or in the room.
Oh, in the back, in
do you
the
remember what that
mudroom.
was? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the belt, his Boy Scout belt.
Right. Was that Boy Scout or Cub Scout?
That was Boy Scout
Boy
belt.
Scout.
So that would have been 1918, 1920, and it was probably hanging on that hook since then. I still have it, obviously.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, we got some Cub Scouts here today, but what we're going to do, folks, is we're going to take a break here and give me like a minute break, Jeff. Run two if you got it, because we want to kind of get things set up here. And we wish you a great weekend, and hopefully some of those things you told me about will come through for the museum, and we'll see you again in May. But I'll definitely come by and see that Medal of Honor. That's great.
Okay, thank you very much.
John. Take care. Okay, folks, we're going to take a little break. So this is for you, and then we're going to be back with people. I don't even know what we're going to do. We're going to just make this happen here.
For others, it may have just been a summer job. But for me, it was training. Now I'm an Air Force pararescueman, and my job is to save lives. Make the right choices today, and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
I remember the moment clearly,
I'll never forget that moment.
as long as I live.
I realized at that moment, when we first saw the damage, these people really needed us. And I was going to make a difference, right here in my community. Together with local responders, we cleared trees and collapsed walls. We had to get to the family trapped beneath. As a citizen soldier, I made a difference.
Be there for your community at NationalGuard.com.
Unless I talk to you, okay? Oh my gosh, we've been invaded here. Hey, I'm over here. Wrong camera. There I am. You guys get all the good shots. You see you. Okay, well, you guys hang on a minute. We've been invaded here at the studio, and we knew you guys were coming, though. We've been looking forward to this. So what we're going to do today is we're just going to say hello to you and find out what's going on here. But Bill, I know, Bill, you're a Cub Master, it says. Good morning, Bill. Bill Volt.
Morning.
What brings you here today?
Well, these are our Tiger Cubs from Cub Scout Pack 126, and they have a lot of requirements to earn their Tiger badge, and one of them is to visit a TV station.
Get out! You know how lucky you guys are? because there aren't very many TV stations around, and we just happen to be here for you. So you're here visiting, and how long have you been here? I heard somebody talking in the back. There's another Cub Scout over there. We got to get him in here. You can grab a chair. It's okay.
I'm not afraid to be on television.
You can come on in here. No. All right. He's not afraid whatsoever. All right. So all right. Well, we're going to take a little quick break. So you guys just kind of look around. You can watch yourselves on here. Now watch how this is going to go. We got a phone call, and her voice is going to come out of the wall. You ready? Good morning, Linda.
Good morning, Doc. It's so nice to be coming out of the wall.
And I got Cub Scouts here.
Well, at least I'm not coming out through the cracks.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say good morning to everyone, and good morning to John, and how much I enjoyed the holiday open house they had at the McClurg Mansion in December. It was absolutely glorious.
Uh-huh. All right. So anything happening at the Office of the Aging, real quick?
Well, we have services, senior services, counseling, and the New York Connects program for people who have maybe needs for some kind of health assistance or information or referral. Also, our senior employment program, the senior aid program, we do have openings. We have our computer training at the Patterson Library in Westfield, at Brockton, at Hyra, Dunkirk Free Library, and Jamestown Office for the Aging. And the number is 753-4471.
Okay, terrific. Well, I don't mean to cut you short, but I got a lot of people to talk to here. So
I know. Well, have a great week and weekend, and
stay warm.
John has a wealth of information, and so many of our locals do. It's amazing the history we have. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks, Linda. We'll talk to you next week. Okay.
Okay. Thanks. Okay. Bye.
All right. Back to the Cub Scouts. So, Bill, who do you have here? You want to pass?
Yeah, I'll pass the microphone.
Why don't you tell us what your name is and where you're from? What's your name?
I'm from Westfield, and my name's Griffin, and hello, world.
Hello, world. From Griffin. Next.
I am Cole, and I'm from Westfield.
Oh, I'm from Westfield, too. So, two Westfield people. Who's next?
Say your name and where you're from. This is Charlie, and he's from DeWittville.
Charlie. Good morning, Charlie. Okay, who's next?
I'm Ben, and I'm from Asheville.
Okay, and?
I'm Cameron, and I'm from Westfield.
So we got some Westfields.
She's my brother.
He's your brother? I know how that is. So, Bill, how many fellas are in your Cub Scout troop?
We have almost 40 boys in our Cub Scout pack.
40?
Yep, from the Chautauqua Lake and Westfield and even the Ripley school districts.
Where do you meet?
As a pack, we usually meet at the Chautauqua Lake Central School.
Okay.
But each of the dens, which are based on grades, and we have first graders through 5th grade, and they each meet pretty much weekly, and they'll meet at different locations, the community centers or the library, or even sometimes the leader's house, or at a TV station.
Where's the other 33?
Well, this is just the Tiger group, because they're working on their
Now, Tigers are the older group.
Are our youngest boys.
Oh, the youngest ones.
Yes, our 5th graders.
Oh, Weeblos are the other end.
Yes.
All right. Got
Yeah, and the Eagles are the highest ones.
Okay. You're in the middle. Okay. So you're a bear. That's fun, isn't it? You guys having a good time in Cub Scouts? Yeah. What's that white thing hanging on your uniform there? What's that all about?
Do you remember what that is, Cole?
Our accomplishments.
Accomplishments?
Yes, that's what I meant.
You sound like me in the morning. It's hard to talk on television, isn't it?
I could not say the word.
Accomplishments.
I could not think about it.
So what accomplishments do you guys do with that white badge?
Do you remember what some of your beads are for?
Well, these are for like doing chores.
Helping around the house.
These ones I don't remember. And these ones I don't remember.
Okay. Anybody help them out? What are those beads for?
I already know what the black ones are
Okay, let's see if somebody else can help us out.
Do you guys remember what the different color beads are for? One color is for various field trips that we go on, and another color is for the bookwork that we work on, and then the other one is for things that we do with our families.
So what color bead are we going to be? Coming here to the station. You get a bead for beading today?
Yes, you do.
Well, oh, I can't wait. What bead color should we be? Black. How do you know, Jeff? Jeff just telling me the answer in my ear. I have. Oh.
Do you have a little friend in your ear?
I have. You see this right here? If you watch the people on TV, they hide it, so you can't hardly see it. But what you saw Jeff that was running all the controls in the other room, he talks to me. He whispers things in my ears so that if I forget something, like what day of the week it is or the date or what color bead you're going to get, he tells me these things. Amazing, huh? And it goes right to this little box right here. Okay, so you guys go camping?
Yeah, we go to Boy Scout camp.
Is he the spokesperson?
He is definitely our spokesperson.
I see that. Boy Scout camp at Camp, what?
Elk Lick.
Okay.
And soon, Winter Cub Fun Day is coming up soon.
Is that Klondike Derby or something like that?
It's Cub Winter Fun Day, and it is at Camp Mers.
Oh, Camp Mers is one of my favorite places.
And this year is not a Pinewood Derby. It's a Lego Derby.
A Lego Derby?
Yep.
A Lego Derby.
They're building their cars out of Legos this year.
Man, that would have been a whole lot easier than trying. My boys were in Cub Scouts, and boy, we got down there and we carved those things, and they were trying to put weights in the front and everything else.
This is our first time trying with Legos, and all the boys are pretty excited about it. So.
I would think so. So,
Yeah,
Ben,
I have to cry.
hang a minute, Ben, right? You're sitting awful quiet down there. Let's talk to your end of the group here. So, what's the best thing? He's looking at himself on TV. Those are called monitors. That way I can tell if I'm crooked or whatever. So what's the best thing you've done so far in Cub Scouts? What do you have fun doing? Do you like your meetings? Mm-hmm. Have you made any? What kind of a Lego car are you making? A really fast one?
Have you started working on your Lego car yet?
Not yet. Okay. How about you on the end? Cameron?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you do the Pinewood Derby?
I have, and I have not started it. I don't know what I'm doing yet.
So what's the secret behind Lego cars? It's got to be the weight up front, maybe? Can you oil the wheels?
Yeah.
Maybe some graphite. I think that's what I remember. We used to have to buy this little stuff in there. So what happens after you go and you're a tiger cub, and then you become a Weeblo, and then somebody said eagle? You guys gonna become Boy Scouts? You gonna go to the next level?
What do you think, Cole?
But then you're talking about Eagles and Boy Scouts. Oh, Eagle rank. That's what he's talking about. So are you guys gonna go to Boy Scouts next?
No, it's tigers, wolves, bears, Weeblo ones, and then Weeblo twos.
Okay, but then you go to Boy Scouts from there,
You
right?
go to Boy Scouts, and then you might even get your Eagle Scout.
Eagle Scout, and you got a lot of merit badges. I know this seems hard to believe, but I was a Boy Scout. Yeah, I got a bunch of merit badges and awards, and I see your Cub Master has the Order of the Arrow on there. I was vigil ranked there, and I got to life. I kind of ran out of steam. I couldn't get to the Eagle.
So life is right
next to it.
Right next to Eagle.
So
one more rank.
If you stay in Boy Scouts, you get to get your own TV show, maybe. So what do you think about the TV show so far? You're like nervous. I do this every Saturday morning.
See, when you're on TV, you can't just nod your head. You have to actually.
Nobody can hear your head.
What do you think, Cole? Is this fun?
Yes.
It's
fun. Your head's always silent. It
Okay.
only says to your brain.
All right. Well, folks, we've just about run out of time. So let me kind of wrap things up here, because you guys going to stick around a little bit when we'll talk some more?
Sure, we can.
Okay, we'll do that. All right, well, folks, you've been watching Chautauqua Sunrise. We have a bunch of scared parents in the background that we refuse to come on TV, but we have the brave Cub Scouts here from Pack 126, and you're the Cub Master, Bill Vogt. I know Bill. And I'm Doc Hamels. You've been watching Chautauqua Sunrise. There they are. You're on TV now. Good job, guys. We'll see you all next Saturday right here on Access Cable 5. I'm Doc Hamels. You have a great weekend. This is where music is supposed to start, and I keep talking until it starts, I guess. So anyways, be safe out there. Don't get frozen. And the credits are supposed to come up now. Here we go. Pull them right up. Let's blow those things up. Come on, come up, 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 up. See how I did that? So wave to the camera, everybody.